Good day, everyone. Today is Palm Sunday. It's the beginning of Holy Week. To the Gospels today, there's actually more than one. The Gospels today, you have the processional Gospel, which is kind of an intro Gospel, so it's not really the Gospel reading of the day for, as far as Mass goes. But you do have a Gospel reading that comes after the first and second reading. However, that one's really long and it requires multiple voices. As you may be aware, I have trouble enough doing anything more than 2 different voices. Try to imagine me doing 4. Or, better still, try not to. So, anyway, but if you had to know, the intro gospel for today, the processional gospel, is Luke chapter 19, verses 28 through 40. And the main gospel reading, the Passion reading, is Luke chapter 22, verse 14, through Luke chapter 23, verse 56. So that's what you would do for Palm Sunday if you wanted to read the Gospels at your leisure. But anyway, Palm Sunday, so this is the beginning of Holy Week, and for those of you who like to think of things in terms of sports analogies, this would be like the playoffs or the end of the regular season leading into the playoffs. You think of the rest of Lent as being like the regular season, and you hope to do it pretty well. But coming to the end, now this is what it all comes down to. Now, for those of you who count days of Lent, like how many days is Lent? Well, it's 40 days, but which 40 do you count? Because if you counted every day, starting with Ash Wednesday, so you had Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and then you had a whole bunch of weeks, however many weeks that was. So 36 weeks. No, 36 days. Okay, yeah, 36 days. No, wait, is that right? Oh, no. 35 days, because it's 5 weeks. So you have 5 weeks, 35 days, plus the 4 that came before it, so 39, and then Palm Sunday would be the 40th day, and you think, oh yeah, Palm Sunday, that's the last day of Lent because everything else is Holy Week. Well, I got news for you. Holy Week is not exclusive from Lent. It's not like a completely different thing from Lent. It's like, oh, there's Lent and then there's Holy Week. Holy Week's part of Lent. In fact, it's like Lent in overdrive. It is the part of Lent where everything really matters more. Like, if you're doing really well during Lent and things are going well for you during the first 5.5 weeks, that's fine. But this is where it really matters. This is where it really intensifies. So to say that Holy Week's not part of Lent could not be further from the truth. Like, it's the exact opposite. It's more Lent-like than the rest of Lent, if you could think of it that way. Think of the NHL, for example. When you get into the playoffs, they call that the second season. Some people call it the real season, because everything that happens in the regular season, it's great, but it's all about how you do in the playoffs. And for those of you who are following college hockey, well, they're already in the playoffs now. They've done all their conference tournaments or are currently doing them, and soon you're going to get to the NCAA tournament. But it's all about how you do in the postseason. Nobody cares if were they number 1 ranked going into the postseason? The postseason's a different season. Well, it's not a different season. It's the real season. It's the real deal. So, just like same thing with Holy Week. So, obviously, today is not the 40th day of Lent. So, what is the 40th day, you might ask? Well, if you don't count Sundays, so just like with Christmas season, you don't count Sundays as part of the days. You count just the weekdays. That's Monday through Saturday. So if you count, Ash Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, okay? And then you get 6 days per week after that. So we've been 5 weeks since that first weekend. So 34 days. We've done 34 weekdays so far, which means we got 6 more. And how many weekdays are in a week? 6. So we got Monday through Saturday, including Holy Saturday. So Lent does not end until midnight Holy Saturday. That is correct. You do not just start boozing it up and and shooting up or whatever it is you do when it's not Lent, as soon as you get out of the Easter Vigil at around 10 p.m. because Lent's not over yet. After all, think of it at the other end, Mardi Gras. Let's say you're on Bourbon Street, you're at Party Central, also known as New Orleans, and and then you're yammering it up and having a grand old time, and then suddenly midnight comes around and the cops come down like gangbusters on Bourbon Street and say, "All right, everything's over, everybody go home. Well, it's Lent now. Mardi Gras over." Something like that. But they don't come at sunset. They come at midnight. And thus, to get the full 40 days, you shouldn't do it half-heartedly. If you start at midnight, you should end at midnight. Because if you're going to end at sunset on Saturday, then you should be taking it nice and easy on Mardi Gras at an earlier time of year when their sun sets earlier. So let's say the party stops at like 4 or 5 p.m. Well, I don't know about you, but most people I know don't consider 4 or 5 p.m. to be the end of a party. That's generally before the party even begins. So, yes, Lent goes till Saturday night, Easter Vigil. Now, you might say, "Oh yeah, so midnight you can start eating chocolate and candy and start doing other stuff that you don't do during Lent." And I would say just wait a little bit. Wait till you go to the Easter Sunday Mass. Now, well, if you go to the Easter Vigil Mass, doesn't that satisfy the obligation? Well, yes, it does. However, you can certainly go to Easter Sunday Mass as well because it is different readings, so therefore it is a different Mass, and why not experience it? Why not get the full experience of this Easter Triduum, of the 3 days. I mean, this is the biggest holiday of the year for those of us who are Catholic. So why not get the full experience? So if whatever you gave up for Lent, just hold on for another few hours and go to your Easter Sunday Mass, and then you can have your big brunch or midday dinner or whatever it is you're all doing on Easter Sunday. And, that's all fine and good because then at that point it'll be Easter season. But back to Holy Week. What will you do during Holy Week? There's plenty to do during Holy Week. If you have not yet done Stations of the Cross, there's plenty of churches that do that on Friday, Good Friday. Plenty to choose from. I would recommend trying one of them. And Holy Thursday, you go to the Mass of the Lord's Supper at 7 p.m. Some parishes are 7:30, but I would recommend trying to go to one that has it earlier, like 7 p.m., because afterward you can go to 7 adoration chapels after the Mass of the Lord's Supper completes or after Mass pauses, because Mass is not declared over on Thursday night, as you may know. It is not declared over until Easter, the Easter Vigil, or Easter Sunday, depending on which one you go to. Now, doing the 7 churches, just find the 7 churches that are closest to the church that you choose to go to the Mass of the Lord's Supper. So, and then just basically hit them all based on what time they close or what time they open, so you don't get there too early. And then just circulate your way through and just stay for a couple of minutes, maybe pray a little bit of the rosary, go through the luminous and the sorrowful mysteries in sequence, and just do a little bit at each chapel. And it's a really great way to get around the various communities in your area, and it's just a really, really powerful experience. So I would recommend it. People used to do that back in the old days, back when my grandma was a child. They don't do it so much these days, but you really should. Give it a shot. And Good Friday, I already mentioned the Stations of the Cross, and then you've got other services too, I'm sure. There's usually 2 different services on a Good Friday. And if you're in the Lawrence area, I'm not going to actually make it there, but there's an Eastern church, the one that's close to St. Mary of the Assumption. I don't remember what the name of that Eastern church is, but it's I think it's on Hampshire Street. Try going to that one. They have a very special service at 7 p.m. I think it's called St. Anthony's, or maybe it's St. Joseph. I don't remember its name, but it's close to St. Mary of the Assumption. in Lawrence. So if you're there, if you're around there, give it a shot. I'm not going to be around for that because I have something else I'm doing on Friday night, which is actually watching the Passion movie, the one that Mel Gibson made. That has become somewhat of a Holy Week tradition for me and for other guys that I've seen it with. So I would definitely recommend seeing that because it shows the passion, from the agony in the garden right through the crucifixion and the resurrection. So I would recommend doing that. And then Holy Saturday, Easter Vigil, yes, I would recommend doing both the Easter Vigil Mass and the Easter Sunday Mass. They're two completely different Masses. And the Easter Sunday Mass, yes, it's more of a tourist Mass. You get a lot of the Cape Catholics. But, there's nothing wrong with that. And it's a really joyful Mass. So I would recommend that. No matter, you can brave the crowds and that's fine. But Easter Vigil is something special. And for me, it's something special just because having been being a convert, that was kind of the, I forget whether it's the end of the beginning or the beginning of the end, but my whole RCIA program, Rite of Christian Initiation for Adults, that whole program culminated with that Mass, and then that Mass is basically, and from that point on, that's where the journey continued forward. So, yeah, plenty to do during Holy Week. Think of Holy Week as being like the playoffs. And it's where things are intensified. It is, not only is it part of Lent, but it is the most Lent-like part of Lent. It's what it all comes down to. So, I hope you have a blessed Holy Week. I hope you have had so far a blessed Lent, and even if not, you can certainly redeem yourself during Holy Week. And yeah, and that's it. Keep it real. Peace.